just hang out and just do paperwork or just contact loved ones at the end of the day. You get a little break. It's kind of our space. So a little piece of advice that I've got from a lot of senior members here is when you think there's nothing to do in the station, there's always something. A small task that I like to do is I'll come to the rack, the SCBA rack where we have all of our spare bottles, and I'll check them. This machine here, Bauer, the Cascade system, it's basically in charge to fill our bottles, our SCBA bottles. So after we use them on incidents, we come back to the station, we clean up all of our empties, we'll bring them here, and we'll put them in these canisters here, and we'll fill them up. So we can actually fill them in the station, and we're ready for the next incident. And then once they're full, we just store them here back on the rack. There's also 2 ways to store them. So if you do assembly in, means it's empty, and then assembly out, it's full. Sweet.
Where do you think we should open it up for subcommittee someone to join the subcommittee.
Well, if the Raven's gonna get passed, then that's gonna eliminate the subcommittee for Raven.
For Raven, right. Okay,
So,
so that's,
so we would have to.
we could think about another subcommittee if it's needed. We could still meet, just us.
Just hang out, kick it, have a beer.
There you go.
Oh, we like to do that. We haven't had beer yet, though.
The first meeting, maybe. It was a long, long time ago. Now,
Calling to order, we'll start with Pledge of Allegiance.
You just look at the screen. Pledge allegiance to the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, and since there's some new faces on the board, we can now proceed with the oath of office for our newly appointed members.
Are we going to do it one at a time or three at a?
We'll do all three at once, but all three will stand up, please.
Yep.
And then I'll state a few sentences, then you'll repeat after me. So I, and then state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, and that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay, well, then we'll proceed to roll call.
Yes, Vice Chair Lee,
Present?
Board Member Russell,
Here.
Board Member Stewart,
Here.
Board Member Cohen Thompson, Board Member Moreno,
here.
and Board Member Barras.
Present.
Okay, we have a quorum.
Okay, now we're going to select our chair and vice chair for the Surveillance Advisory Board for the next year. So,
Nominations.
okay, take nominations.
Yeah, so nominations are, each board member, if they want, can make a nomination. You don't have to vote on that, that's just a name for the entire board to consider. At any point, anyone wants to do it, you can make a motion to elect that person to whichever office you've nominated them to.
Any nominations?
I nominate Simon for chair.
I accept. Any other nominations?
Then you need a motion to approve it.
Okay, motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Let's,
You need a roll call.
oh, should we do 2 roll calls, like do the chair, vice chair as well?
Yes.
Okay.
No, well,
Oh,
we're
do the
just
roll
doing
call,
the chair
okay.
right now.
Okay. So we have a nomination for Simon Lee to be the chair for this next term. And Chair Lee?
Abstain.
Okay. Board Member Russell?
Agreed.
Board Member Stewart?
Yes.
Board Member Cohen-Thompson?
Yes.
Board Member Moreno?
Yes.
And Board Member Bras?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Now, I'd like to, now we're proceeding with
To
the
vice chair.
Chair.
vice chair nominations. I'd like to nominate Mike Moreno for vice chair.
I'd like to nominate Tony Stewart.
Any other nominations? Okay. Okay, so proceeding to
So
voting.
in the case of
If
two-
somebody has a motion,
motion.
right.
I make a motion that the 2 nominees be up for vote.
Well-
That they be accepted as.
Actually, you would make a motion to elect one or the other,
Okay.
is how it would work.
Can we make a motion to have co-chairs? Co-vice chairs?
No. Unfortunately, it's one.
I'm fine seconding Board Member Moreno for this one. If he
All right, I need a motion before the second,
Well,
though.
can you move it again?
She made a motion to,
I'll motion to elect Mike.
okay.
And then I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll do a roll call for the vice chair. Board Member Russell?
Approved.
Board Member Cohen-Thompson?
Okay.
Board Member Stewart?
Yes.
Chair Lee?
Yes.
Board Member Moreno?
Abstain.
And Board Member Ross?
Yes.
Okay, congratulations. So we have a chair and a vice chair. Chair Lee and Vice Chair Moreno. Thank
For
you.
clarity on that motion that I made, I know different boards are a little bit different, and I come from other boards. So the clarity on that is that what you would have, you couldn't say the 2 nominations, the 2 nominees that were there. Is that what we put on the floor, and then we vote for each one separately? So that's not how you do that here. You do it separately, right?
Yes, we generally do that separately.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, please proceed.
I'm new, can I see a hand of the people that were the new people, the new chair and the vice chair? And vice chair.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention, after the selection of the new board members, if they want to say something, you're welcome to. If they want to introduce themselves, you can allow them to talk at this point. Mhm.
Yes, if we could have statements, if any of the newly empaneled board members would like to speak.
Introduce themselves or just tell something about themselves, and then we're good.
I'll go. So I'm Russell Owen. I'm recently retired, and but I have a background in computer security and privacy, so that's why I joined the board.
Okay, thank you.
Peggy Cohen-Thompson, I grew up here. I have worked in and out of the city in different boards and commissions for years, just recently coming off the Planning Commission. I'm a real estate broker and a notary public. And what goes on here is very important because I live here, and quality and place is very, very important. You cannot have quality of life if the place is not right. So I was asked to be on this board a few years ago, and I kind of was in and out with the meetings, but only recently I resigned from the Planning Commission, and that call to get on this board came again, so I thought, great, I'm here to be of a service, not with an opinion. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Alejandro Bras, and I am a practicing attorney in private practice as well as a small business owner in Vallejo. And I'm not only excited to be here, but I also feel rather privileged to be able to offer any expertise and looking forward to learning a lot. So thank you.
Thank you, board members. We'll move now to the consent calendar and approval of the previous meetings, previous SAB meeting agenda.
I'll move consent.
I second.
Okay. Okay, I'll do a roll call for the consent calendar and approval of the agenda. Okay, Board Member Bras. You can abstain because you were not here. So just go ahead and state abstain.
Abstain.
Okay, Board Member Moreno,
Yes.
Chair Lee,
Abstain.
okay, and Board Member Stewart,
Yes.
Board Member Quan Thompson,
Yes.
and Board Member Russell.
Abstain.
Thank you. I think that we have 1, 2,
Do we have a
3,
vote?
3. No, it's
Yeah.
okay, so it didn't pass,
All
okay.
right.
So those that abstained can vote. It's okay.
Yeah, you can, yes, vote to approve the minutes.
I'll
And
move,
our-
I'll change the abstention to, even though I wasn't here last
Okay.
meeting, to yes.
Okay, thank you, appreciate that.
Okay, now turning to the report of the committee. Board Secretary.
Yes, thank you. So yeah, I want to welcome the new board members. Thank you very much. Appreciate that you're joining the board, and we're looking forward to working with you. I'm the board secretary, so if you have any information that you need for the board or past decisions, please feel free to reach out to me. Next meeting of the board is going to be on June 19th. It's third Thursday of each month. And we are planning to do will be a board training meeting, most likely. We'll do the Brown Act, Code of Ethics.
I won't be here.
You won't be here? Okay, so, all right. All right, we'll have to do an alternate date maybe. Okay, but,
I can get someone to do it.
okay, so, but anyway, the next big item for the board would be the training for the board, because you're fully seated now. We have one vacancy still, but it's a good time to get that training out of the way. That's pretty much I have. Thank you.
Okay, now turning to the city attorney's report.
Good evening, board members. Welcome to all the new members. I don't have anything to report, but if any of the members, new members, or the old members have anything they need to ask, about legalities, about law that relates to the board business, please feel free to reach out to me. The email addresses for city employees are all pretty easy, so it's my first name, period, last name, so randy.reisner@cityofvallejo.net.
And I just want to add to that, if any board member wants to communicate with the staff, you can also email sab@cityofvallejo.net. It'll come to me, and I will forward that information to whoever it needs to go to.
Any questions or
I
comments?
had a quick question. Can that training potentially include Robert's Rules of Order also?
It does.
Okay.
Yes.
beautiful. Thank you.
So Brown Act, Code of Ethics, and Public Records request.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, now turning to the report from our city council liaison. Oh, thank you. And now chairperson report. Well, I wasn't here last SAB meeting, so nothing to report from a committee-wide perspective. And I know actually any other comments or statements from the board at large?
I will. Sorry, Randy, tell me stop if I need to stop. This is kind of for item 13, but because our liaison's here, I don't want you to have to stay the whole time. I want to see explore the idea of a work plan for this body, and what that could look like, and how we could, and what other opportunities from council what opportunities from council that can be brought forth that we can kind of opine on in terms of surveillance and technology in the city. So, thank you. But I'll bring that forth later.
Any other comments or questions? Okay. Now, moving over to the action calendar. And then, so the first item on the calendar is adoption of a resolution recommending deployment of RLIS, which is the automated red light camera technology by the Vallejo Police Department, and the recommendation to the City Council.
So I can go ahead and get this started quickly. So we've debated this item in the last several meetings, and I think we landed on that the board, create a resolution and Randy has created the resolution, and the board deliberated the last meeting, and the opinion is that they're going to recommend this technology to the City Council. So we have a resolution before you that is drafted by Randy after taking your input from the last meeting. So if you want to go ahead and discuss that resolution, and the action before you is to approve that resolution that was discussed in the last meeting. And in the staff report that I provided in the packet, I've given you the dates, a couple of dates that you guys have met and deliberated on this topic.
My comment, I know I wasn't present at the last meeting when further discussion on the resolution occurred, but just to reiterate my comments from the previous SAB meeting, I wanted to make the recommendation that this resolution be sent to another commission that was more appropriate, more relevant for them to weigh in on the issue, because most of the testimony, the vast majority of the testimony, and the evidence submitted to us, by the police department centered more on the efficacy of the tool, and efficacy of the tool, given our human resources that could be devoted to executing on RLIS, and they didn't pertain directly to surveillance technology as I understood it. Only a very small element, the actual photo of the RLIS technology centers on the actual personal data collection. I know you've since, board members have since discussed further, but I still think that this is not really within the purview of the SAB's mandate, and therefore wanted to send this to either the Public Works Director and or Planning Commission for them to seriously review and weigh in on the resolution.
Chair, I did, when I redrafted the resolution, I tried to focus on the privacy aspect of it and not the other pieces as you're talking about. And I think that was the concern of the board last time when you weren't here too, that we try to focus on the things that are within this board's purview. And so I did try to focus on the privacy issues and the surveillance aspect of it.
Yeah.
And then
To the chair, Planning Commission and Public Works, they don't do anything with this, because that's not within the purview of what they do. So absolutely nothing with this. Planning is land use and zoning.
Thank you for that
this would
clarification.
be, it would be the council, so
Yeah.
you're handing it off to the right
Or
body.
if there is another relevant commission, like focused on traffic safety,
No, so,
traffic
yeah.
planning.
Yeah,
So-
handing it off to the council is,
That-
that is the body.
that is correct. So this resolution, once it's signed, it will go to the City Council, and then they can they can deem it essential to forward it to whichever.
Thank you. Any comments or questions on the draft resolution before us from any other board members?
I have a comment/question. So, I know that we're trying to focus on the privacy aspect, and we're not, and we talked about this before, where we're not saying, yes, we need to buy this technology. We want the council to, you know, from our perspective, the privacy piece, there's not an issue with that.
Right.
So is there a way that we can retool this to just focus on that? Because as the media gets this, as citizens get this, they're thinking, we approve this technology, where we're not necessarily doing
I
that.
actually think that it does focus on the privacy aspect of it. That's the first thing that you're saying here, number one, based upon the above recitals, the information provided by the Vallejo Police Department concerning RL's, the board finds that it has no significant concerns concerning privacy related to such a system.
Yes, and I agree
And
with
then
you on
after
that.
that, you're telling the city council that if they want to decide to use it, that's up to them, essentially.
Yeah, so would number 2 be irrelevant because number 4 is going to be the city council, they're going to be determining that aspect of it, if it's beneficial for the city? Like, that's,
That can be removed, yes, if you'd like to do that, if the board wants to do that.
Definitely agree with Board Member Moreno on the removal of number 2 in the resolution.
But I will point out that at the last meeting, that was something that I was asked to add.
Oh.
So,
Okay, well,
To the chair, being new, I was at the last meeting. Could you just reiterate what the privacy issue is that you're having a question about?
I don't have a question regarding the privacy component of it. I just think that,
I didn't mean
Yeah,
you,
okay,
I
I'm
mean,
s-
whatever that issue was on the floor. Obviously, it was discussed prior to last meeting, and maybe I missed something. So if you could throw that issue, what that issue is.
yeah,
so
I
that
mean,
we could all.
sure.
I can jump in that too and give her
Yeah, I
the
mean, I
information.
can.
Yeah, go
just
ahead.
from-
You're-
I
yeah.
can share from my
Yes.
individual
Okay.
perspective, and then, you know, other folks could weigh in. But just, you know, we had a couple of meetings on this. The police department presented at length, and from my perspective, the vast majority of the testimony and the evidence that was submitted had more to do with the challenges that the police department would have in staffing having enough staff on hand to execute on the technology that was proposed, and the efficacy of the technology itself. And from my perspective, it was a very small element related to actual personal data capture, collection, and usage, which would be the actual camera, the camera photograph of the driver in a stoplight detection.
Yeah, I
That's
think.
from that's from my individual perspective.
I think you got it. Yeah, the issue is that once the data is stored on a server, how can that data be accessed? And then if someone gets hold of it, the personnel, what can they do with the data? So that is the privacy concern. Can they use the data to do something else, target somebody or, go against somebody, so that's the
In other words,
concern.
somebody abusing the use of that information.
That is correct,
Basically, is
correct.
what it- okay.
Exactly, and a lot of the data usage and the data handling is handled, when the technology is deployed, a lot of that data handling and the usage is covered in police department's own policies. So,
Thank you.
I just wanted to say, I think we've narrowed it down enough to where I'm okay with this going to the city council. I think it's clear enough. I think our council liaison has heard us discuss it enough to where he can report back also if there's any uncertainty, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, and also, city staff. So I don't think there's any further discussion needs to be had about the potential language in the resolution. And so if there's nothing else, I was gonna make a motion that we.
and we are
proceed with it.
removing number 4?
No.
Oh, we are not, okay.
If I could actually ask a quick question, it's probably due to my ignorance and being new, and it's a broader question, but Does the board opine or hear evidence of anything other than a privacy issue? For instance, if there's like a due process issue with a particular technology that we are reviewing, would that come up under discussion, or are we strictly advising on privacy?
New technologies.
I
Yeah.
I think the main thrust of the mandate for this board is on the privacy and the personal data collection and usage. However, I think the consequences in terms of usage, whether it's lawful or not, or inappropriate, I think that does spill over to potentially due process issues. So I do think that's relevant for discussion for this board.
But I think the due process issues will be also police oversight committee as well. So, so sorry, Randy.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So does anyone else have any issue with any of the
Jerry, I'm
relevant
sorry to
solutions?
interrupt you, but when there's a motion on the floor, you
Okay.
need to deal with
I will
that
withdraw my
first.
motion.
Okay, there you go.
So just, just from my perspective, I agree with Board Member Moreno that 2 probably isn't relevant, given the fact that this would, the resolution would be ultimately recommending for the city council to determine whether RLS would be beneficial. I agree with his recommendation to take that off. And despite the fact that that was added last meeting that I wasn't present, but I would think that that's probably, I don't think it is necessary, given that we have number 4. That's my thoughts.
If I may,
Chair, was there a unanimous vote to put that in at the last meeting?
I wasn't here at the last meeting, so I can't.
It was direction that
It was
the majority of
yeah.
the board gave to me, yes.
Right, okay, so then we go back and we rescind what the board did last meeting? Because this was the consensus, from what I understand, because I was here, that this is what they wanted.
The majority of the board can do what they want.
Oh, so
You
go in
can
and
certainly
out.
change it now. It's why it's here tonight,
So
for you to vote up or
I'm gonna-
up or down.
I want to propose a motion to take off number 2 on the resolution
And approve it with that deletion?
and vote on it with that deletion.
Okay.
We're doing 2 again. So even before, if we're going to remove that, then we take a vote on removing. And I want council to clarify that. And then we take a vote on whatever that vote was, that it goes for. But because it
You-
was already agreed that this would go forward.
It's up-
Since you say you can take it off, so that they recommend that you take that off, then you take a vote and see those that are in favor of removing that. And then whatever that vote is,
That-
then we move forward.
That works too. You can do it that way.
Yeah.
So you're going to vote on
But,
removing number 2.
but there was no vote taken last time, it was just direction.
Direction.
Yeah, there was,
So we can change the direction today.
Vote, but they took a
It's
consensus.
I
okay.
wasn't here.
Okay, okay,
Let them vote on
okay.
that.
So,
So I recommend we actually have a vote here.
To remove 2.
To remove 2, and then vote vote on the resolution with the removal of number 2.
okay, so I need a motion to remove 2.
You have
Okay.
it.
Oh, you have it, okay, by Peggy?
Yeah.
Okay, and then seconded?
I second.
I'm sorry, who was that?
was
Oh, sorry, Mike.
Mike.
Okay, so we're voting on removing item number 2 from the resolution. Board Member Russell,
Abstain.
Board Member, sorry, one second. Board Member Cohen Thompson,
No.
Board Member Stewart,
No.
Board Member Lee, Chair Lee,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Moreno,
Yes.
and Board Member Brass.
yes.
Okay,
That's a tie vote. The motion fails with a tie.
okay.
I move that we approve the resolution as is, as
Second.
written.
Second.
I second that.
Okay, so we're gonna move, we're gonna go ahead and, no, sorry, so are we still, we're not moving this, or are we still?
No, the
Okay,
motion-
okay, so we're still gonna move the
the
number
motion-
2.
No, the motion was to approve it as it's written.
Got it, okay. All right, Board Member Russell,
Yes.
Board Member Cohen Thompson,
Yes.
Board Member Stewart,
Yes.
Chair Lee,
No.
okay, Vice Chair Moreno,
Yes.
and Board Member Bras.
Abstain.
Okay,
Actually, sorry, I'm going to move to abstain.
okay, so I think we're good then.
How many?
1, 2, 3, 4. 4.
You have 4?
Four,
Yes,
okay.
yes,
Okay.
it passes.
All right.
Okay, the next item is to adopt a resolution to approve the gunshot detection technology policy. So does anyone, if anyone has any comments or questions?
I'm sorry, Chair. We should have taken public comment on the last item, right?
Oh,
Okay.
you're absolutely right. We did miss doing that.
Okay.
So we could go back and do that now. See if there's any public comment. Manny? Do we have public comment?
No public comment at this time.
Did
You can,
if you want to comment,
Yeah, you
I
can
think,
speak.
yeah.
Yes, yes, come on up. Yep. And state your name.
Well, good evening. I'm Ron Tesnow, live in the Heritage District here of Vallejo. I just had one question regarding that discussion of point number 2. If the purview of the board is only to consider privacy, then is it in the purview of the board to say that something is beneficial or not? That's sort of a question I have. I know you guys did the vote already, so I just want to put that out there maybe for future considerations that, you know, if the scope is just privacy concerns, then I'm not sure that the board can comment whether something is beneficial to the city or not. So that's my only comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, moving on to, well, motion B, or agenda,
11B.
yeah.
Correct.
To adopt a resolution to approve the gunshot detection technology policy. If anyone has any comments, questions?
And Chair and Board, I will point out that approve should have been recommend, because that's what you're doing is recommending that the police department adopt the changes that you've proposed.
Just, well, I'd like to just clarify that I think that, you know, working with the subcommittee on the Raven policy, working with the police department, moved on a lot of outstanding issues. And from my understanding, there's only one remaining issue, unresolved issue, and it's a recommendation that the subcommittee made. And I'm just gonna, state the language here. The subcommittee recommended to add the following language to the policy that describes how VPD, the Police Department, will inform the City Council about relevant procedures and metrics in the administration of the policy, consistent with council guidance to inform the council. That, I believe, was the only remaining issue. And the subcommittee recommended this because it was consistent with the City Council's authorization for SOB, for the Police Department to work with SOB for the SOB to understand the technology is being used and therefore inform the City Council. So I think Police Department refused to add this, what I think is reasonable language in the policy that just reaffirms that they have an obligation to inform the city council with relevant procedures and metrics and the administration of this policy. So I think that's where we're at. Please, you know, if there's any board members want to comment or clarify further, please, please do.
Chair, regarding, you said that the Vallejo Police Department refused to add whatever that, to edit, they refused to do it?
That's my understanding, that they decided not to add this language. But
If they didn't add, okay, then that they didn't add the language, that language, did they add any other language? Or just because they didn't take ours, or what was suggested? Did they then provide their own language in lieu of?
my understanding is no. That's a great point. But you know, maybe the police department could weigh in whether, actually, last meeting, I did recommend that the police department consider recommended language and also to weigh in on their own language.
And have they done that? Can we have someone respond to that?
Good evening, Board. Welcome to the new members. My name is Lieutenant Jeff Ty. I'm currently the lieutenant over at the Compliance Division, as well as the commander of our drone program, as well as that. So I worked closely with Captain Bautista, as well as the subcommittee, the Ravens subcommittee, in regards to the policy. We took into consideration everything from other outside agencies' policies that are very similar into gunshot audio detection, as well as what the current practices are being used. One of the things that the SAB was requesting was us to put in language specific to SAB and listing them as a board within the Vallejo Police Department's policies. Currently, there is no policy within the police department that recommends any other board or any other outside entity, which was the main reason why we did not want to add the language to put SAB specifically into our policies. But at the same time, under the city Muni Code, describes all the purviews of the Surveillance Advisory Board, as well as what records the board would like to see, as well as any other documentation that was within their purview. So we've had no issues with that or presenting any of those issues to the board. And actually, when requested, we've made edits and changes to reports and or everything from the drone logs to the cell site simulators to be able to satisfy the board's requests. And so the big sticking point on that was whether or not we would add another outside entity or a board into the Vallejo Police Department's policy, which is why we were saying we did not want to add that. Not that we would not provide any other information, nor that we would not follow anything within the Muni Code, which does outline the purview of the SAB. And so we went back and forth with the subcommittee in regards to the policies, what it looked like, and where we're at. And that was the one language piece, was whether or not we would add Surveillance Advisory Board into our policy.
Okay, thank you for that clarity on that.
To clarify, one of the proposed edits was to take out Surveillance Advisory Board and just to add City Council to that language. So that's what I was hoping would be proposed language on Vallejo Police Department's side to try to move this forward. Taking SAB off, but add inform the city council, would that be?
I would still recommend not to leave that, as well as that's not in there. The other part about it is we asked the Surveillance Advisory Board to provide us with any other agencies or outside that may or may not have this information. So they provided us with documentation from Champaign Police Department. We reviewed their policy. We asked the SAB to be able to provide us any documentation as well, so we can look at it and go, what are the best practices that are being used nationwide, as well as around their surrounding agencies? And we did not find any other policy that also listed City Council or that in the other boards into it.
To the chair, it seems like we're deferring to city council something that city council is expecting from us. And once we give it to them, then they'll make their edits. So, if I'm wrong, correct me, that we don't defer to them and let them make the decision. That's what this board does. And then this board sends their recommendations to the city council. And if the city council then makes edits, that's where it comes. They don't edit it without us. That's what we do. Am I correct?
You are correct.
Okay. All right. So there was, you have given the reply on that, and that's the reason why. You've
Yes.
given us the reason why.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
So in the Exhibit A over there, they have, let me see what I'm trying. Under comment 2, I replied that there is no other VPD policy I'm aware of referencing any board groups to include SAB or city council unless legal requirements such as AB 481. I believe city chapter 2.27 governs SAB and their role, which VPD follows.
And so for the board, the point of the resolution that's before you is to make a recommendation to city council that the policy be adopted with the changes recommended by the SAB.
I have a question. Would city council be able to weigh in on adjusting, changing the policy once they have it?
If they chose to, they could.
Okay.
But
So if they
they'll-
wanted to
they'll
add
get-
that.
They'll get your recommendation.
Mhm.
And if one of the council members or the mayor decides that they'd like for the entire body to hear it, they can ask that that be done.
Got it. Thank you.
Any questions or additional comments from the board before maybe we'll offer public comment? See public comment.
Yeah, I have a question. There seems to be, in Exhibit A, a lot of discussion about the procedure under which this technology will be used, and it's not clear that all of it relates to privacy. So I'm kind of curious about the remit of this board. I think outside of the privacy concerns, what is the interest of this board in having an opinion on how police will administer technology?
I think we are, okay, the main focus of this board is for the privacy implications in any of the technology being used. And that also, that includes how the police department will audit their use of the personal data, the efficacy of the program. So I think that's within the general purview of the SOB to review technologies and also services agreements related to the technologies that spell out exactly how personal data is going to be collected and used by the police department, and also shared and administered. So does that help?
Yeah, let me give you an example, though. Police personnel shall not provide to the public the location or description of the sensors. There's no personal information related to the people who live in Vallejo associated with that. So I don't know that we, as the SAB, care about whether or not the police want to release that information. So it just seems a little, I'm a little unsure of.
Well, one important aspect of privacy law is the sharing of personal data. So that's, that's a lot of privacy laws, actually all privacy laws deal with the sharing of personal data through other agencies, other companies, so
Okay.
Does that,
Yep,
okay.
thank you.
A quick follow-up to that, is there any description of the board's duties or responsibilities other than in the municipal code?
No. No, the municipal code governs is your duties.
Has there ever been a discussion in the board about what the municipal code means? It's rather broad.
There has been, yes, on numerous occasions, and that's part of your training too.
Any other comments, questions from the board before opening up to the general audience? Okay. Do we have anyone offering public comments?
Thank you, Chair. Currently do not have any speakers online for this item. Do we have any speakers in person on this item? No speakers at this time, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, do we have let's make a motion. I'm going to propose a motion to vote on the resolution.
Okay. Roll call. Board Member Russell,
Yes.
Board Member Cohen-Thompson,
Yes.
Board Member Stewart,
Yes.
Board Member, Chair Lee,
No.
Vice Chair Moreno,
Yes.
and Board Member Ross.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, moving on to the information calendar. We have technology usage reports for drones, cell site simulator, Raven, gunshot detection, and Flock ALPR cameras.
So I'll start with the drone technology one. Unfortunately, I did not provide Naveed with that one. I was not supposed to be, I was initially unavailable at this meeting. I'll be more than happy to provide the board with that on a later date, whatever works for you guys. And again, like I said, I apologize. I was initially not unavailable to attend. However, I was able to shuffle some things around to be able to provide that. If anybody has any questions on that one, just off the top, I can be more than happy to further discuss. Or Naveed, if you have any suggestions.
You can go ahead and email that to me,
I can.
then I can go ahead and provide that to the board.
Perfect.
Okay?
So I'll hope to get that to you guys by next week. I'll shoot for that.
So that one, we're moving forward to our next meeting. That
Yes,
report.
so usually what happens is I provide the drone log usage, which is a year-to-date log that all of our pilots keep, and then allows the board to review. If they have questions, comments, or concerns, I can discuss some things about it, or what it means and how to read it.
Or in the next meeting, I can have the 2 months worth of log for you to review as well, whatever you prefer.
Thank you.
And then the second report we have is the cell site simulator. So this year, we've only had one deployment of that, and that was by 2 of our detectives, and it was in regards to a homicide. So that one is listed as on number 6, and it should be on page 24 of your packet. And if any of the board has any questions in regards to that one, Captain Bautista or I would be more than happy to answer.
Actually, I do have a question about the cell site simulator. So it looks like you're using it for location, but these types of technologies often have other things they can do, like interception of communication, injection of communication. I'm wondering, do you have a kind of list of things that you do with it, or is it just location?
It is just location.
Okay, all right.
Okay, the third report that we have in here is the ALPR. So again, that's a year-to-date for all of the automated license plate reads.
So I have a question about this. In the material, you talked about being able to detect other kinds of incidents, sideshows, fireworks. I didn't see any of those in this extensive transcript.
So that's with Raven, and Captain Bautista will speak on that.
Okay.
That's the last report.
Okay.
So, yes, you're correct. If you look at the Raven audio alert statistics, it could not only detect multiple gunshots and single gunshots, but also sideshow alerts and fireworks alerts. Oftentimes, what our officers and dispatch will do is they only, there's an option of receiving only gunshot alerts or multiple gunshot alerts, because as you can imagine, especially as it gets closer to July 4th, we have thousands of fireworks alerts.
Right.
So then it essentially slows down the system, and especially with dispatch, when they have multiple different resources that they're using online, it completely will bog down the system. So primarily, they're only monitoring multiple gunshots and single gunshot alerts.
Okay, so you are getting a count of the sideshows, but not the location? Is that how I should interpret that, or?
No, all of them actually will give you an approximate location
Okay.
of every single alert.
So in this log, there are no sideshows listed? Does that mean it didn't detect any? I mean,
There are 795.
yeah, so I guess I'm not,
What he's talking about is the alert. So it's like your cell phone, you can set it up to receive the messages
I
and
see.
get them.
Yeah.
So the system still receives and tracks those things, but it's whether or not the alerts are coming through. And so if the alerts are turned off, it will allow the system to run smoother, I guess you could say, because
Right.
it's not getting all those extra ones. So it's still capturing the data.
oh, it is, okay. So it's just not included in this report?
That's the 795 alerts on the.
Okay, but the shots fired are all given a block. So I'm curious why there's a discrepancy on the location between the reporting of sideshows and the reporting
So-
of gunshots.
So this, if you're referring to the shots fired call, this was a report that was requested by the SAB to compare actual shots fired calls versus Raven alerts.
Okay.
So this is only specific to that.
Ah, okay.
It is not indicative of sideshows.
Okay.
So you're correct, the sideshows are not listed on
Yes.
In the log.
that part of the log.
All right, thanks.
And I just wanted to throw it out there as well, is that our Raven equipment does not cover the entire city. It is only in clusters of the city based on statistical data. And so there are possibilities where any of these alerts would not be detected,
Okay, thank you.
of course.
Since we're talking about the reporting aspect of things, I'm not sure if y'all heard about this report of a recent investigation that found that Texas law enforcement was, an agency was using Flock's nationwide ALPR network to track a woman across state lines due to alleged abortion. They did it, I think, for a month. They tracked it. Based on the family of that woman, they were concerned about that woman, her health, her welfare. So I wanted to check with y'all if there is a way that, in the spirit of transparency and the commitment to that, is there a way to review the requests from other agencies and have a report out for us around that?
I believe on the, yes, the transparency site, it shows who we are sharing our flock information with.
So I believe that was the last
Excuse me,
year-
our LPR cameras.
I believe that was
Yeah.
the last year incident that we discussed as the board when Captain Ramsey was here as well, and went through the scrub that to make sure there was no outside states or agencies that were not supposed to be on there, and then those were removed if they were on there. And I believe there was one that was on there that was removed. So that is all available to see who's being shared, who the information is being shared with.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, and y'all's help with getting that, addressed on there. What I'm kind of looking at is the number of requests and who's requesting it. If there's this report had pulled that up, this reporter, they were the ones that requested the data. I guess the data was, something that they could request from the free speech or whatnot. Whatever, they were able to request that from the police department. The police department provided it, and that's how they saw that that entity, that law enforcement in Texas was, tracking this woman, and they were requesting, the location based on the ALPR hits through the flock network. So my question is, are y'all able to share visibility into the requests that are being put forth from other entities that you could share with us?
So our analyst receives the requests from other agencies via email, and I don't think he keeps track of the ones that he is denying, because we're not sharing any information, so there's no point in him holding on to that information.
Got it.
The way the request works is it's an agency, so you mentioned Texas. Texas sends over to the police department. That agency is requesting access to our cameras, or our flock cameras, or whatever it might be. So it doesn't specifically say at this time, or my understanding, it's like, say, I'm looking for this specific incident or time. It's just a general request to look at all of the cameras and so forth, which are denied.
Got it. So within Flock, the system itself, does it have a network audit request that comes through at all from from other agencies?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Okay, because that was what I think they had mentioned, that it was through a network audit request that they got that data from them.
Yes, I could certainly look into it.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, can I just ask a question to clarify? It sounds like no data is released from these systems without approval by the Vallejo Police. Is that true?
Are you speaking about the general public, or?
Well, I would say any system, red light cameras, any of the systems that's gathering data. Like I'm assuming that all these vendors get your approval before any data is released to outside agencies. Is that fair?
Yes, they wouldn't be able, so they have to request to have access to.
Right.
So so it has to come through the police department. Police department has to review it and go, yes, they can, or no, they cannot. And that list is all shared on the Flock's transparency site as well. To see what agencies have the ability to look at any data.
Right. And you are approving these based on them being related to a specific incident, as opposed to a sort of general, I would like to see everything you've got for the past week across the whole city. Like, how specific does the request have to be for it to be approved?
It's just a general sharing request so we'll generally approve California agencies only.
Okay.
Yes, because as you know, our fugitives can drive all the way up and down the state and outside. However, it's absolutely beneficial for investigative-wise to be able to track wanted vehicles up and down the state.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, sir.
So, just riffing off of what Board Member Moreno asked, could we determine, Captain Bautista, whether we have the possibility to conduct a network audit by next sub meeting?
Sure, I could certainly ask our flock representative. I am not going to be available for that date on the 19th. I'll be out of state, but I can pass it along to Naveed.
Sorry. Are the entities that are approved to request data, so there's a set of entities that are approved to request data, and then they must make a request to you to access that data, and once that request is approved, they have full access to all of the data to just look through. Is that correct?
For the LPRs, that's correct, yes.
Okay.
And just to clarify, there's a current prohibition to share, or prohibition to share this kind of data to federal agencies. So the kind of sharing that the lieutenant and captain just shared is, just talked about, is only in-state, that are authorized in-state to share. Any other questions, comments, before proceeding to the next agenda item? Okay, and the next, well, we can actually cancel that. We could strike the next agenda item, because the agenda item is related to the subcommittee, and the work of the
Yes.
subcommittee is done.
Yes, so, yeah, we will go ahead and remove that item, item B, going forward.
So, moving now to future agenda items.
Okay, so I brought up earlier, the idea of a potential work plan, and I think that I'll have more of a formulated thought after the training. I think that might clarify some things. But I do want to, I do have a few questions. I was going over the SAB website, and I was just kind of reviewing a few things, trying to understand a few things. And I want to understand, item 12 on the website states that the SAB will review software designed to forecast criminal activity, or criminal activities or criminality. And I want to just understand if we have any devices that could be defined that way. And if so, what are they? And I hope that can be brought back to the body. Sure. On the website number 12, it says software designed to forecast criminal activity or criminality. And so I just want to understand what that could mean in the terms of any technology that we have, anything that can be defined that way within our city.
And I think that language is taken right out of the ordinance.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if we have any technology that is defined that way, it'd be nice to know what that
Okay.
is and any potential issue that could cause. I want to understand more of that. Also, I was interested in the potential of a random audit policy of the UAVs, the unmanned aircraft, UAS, the unmanned aircraft systems, similar to policy, I believe it's 433 of the body worn cameras. I just think it'd be good that we have a similar policy, if that's within the purview of this body, a similar policy auditing the use of drones on a random basis. Granted, we've had some folks come to this body with concerns about surveillance. Whether or not there's credence to that, I don't know. But if they're not being randomly checked, I don't think we can really say you're off base here. And so those are a few things I wanted to just have brought back potentially for exploration. And one more thing. I wanted to understand what we do. I guess that's not really our purview. I'll leave that alone. And so that is all. Thank you. Oh, one more thing. Sorry. Also in the ordinance for the Surveillance Advisory Board, item G, or under duties and functions, it states any department's use or policy regarding technology. So what other departments other than the police department have technology or surveillance equipment or any technology that would be within our purview that is currently being used or explored within the city? So that is all I have. Thank you.
I think those will be just regular CCTV cameras that we install in our own buildings.
If we could just comb through potentially, and I'm not asking for the next meeting because I know there's a lot going on with budget season, but just whatever else there could be, if we could have a list of that,
Yes.
just to understand. Thank you.
Okay, so what I can do is, I think the next meeting is gonna be a very lengthy meeting with your training. That's about a 2-hour plus training. So, and then the work plan and these items, we can
Yeah,
roll
it
into
can
the
come
July.
3 meetings from now.
Correct.
Again, I understand you guys are all going through your budget. I'm sure everybody's busy.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to put any more work on anyone until
Well,
there's time to do so.
we have potentially 2 meetings. In August, the city council takes a recess, and we recommend that the boards take a recess too. So there'll be no meeting in August, and we'll probably resume back in September.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Any additional future agenda item proposals, discussion? Okay. Not hearing any, I think we can adjourn. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.